The 1960s was the golden age of horsepower, chrome, and pure American rebellion. And nothing channeled that rebellion better than homemade muscle cars. Well, maybe Bob Dylan and Rolling Stones anthems. It was a time when Detroit became the beating heart of speed and American muscle became a symbol of freedom. These are the 10 greatest muscle cars, the machines that defined a generation, changed the industry, and are still coveted by car enthusiasts today. 10. 1964 Pontiac GTO, the one that started the movement. When you think about muscle cars, especially from the 60s, your thought process is not complete without taking a look or a ride in the 1964 Pontiac GTO. This is the car that will help you understand muscle. Before the GTO, performance meant big, heavy sedans or European sports cars. But Pontiac engineers John DeLorean and Russell G had a different idea that would revolutionize the meaning of performance forever. They decided to drop a big engine into a smaller, lighter ride, and that was the birth of the Gran Turismo Omologato, popularly known as the GTO. Under the hood of this new invention sat a 389 cubic inch V8. Now, this gas eater delivered up to 348 horsepower. In a lightweight Tempest body, it turned everyday streets into drag strips. The 64 GTO wasn't just fast, it was also accessible. For under $3,000, the average young American could buy a car and the power to humble Corvettes and Ferraris. In no time, muscle cars were soon competing with motorbikes as a young American's transport of choice. From that moment, Detroit took notice, and the muscle car race had officially begun. 9. 1966 Chevrolet Chevelle SS 396. Chevy's answer came quickly. Just 2 years later, in '66, the Chevelle SS 396 was unveiled. This was a brawny, confident machine that brought Chevy's big block muscle to the mid-size market. The 396 cubic inch V8 engine produced 375 horsepower, a brute force that could rip through the quarter mile in 14 seconds flat. But it wasn't just about numbers and performance. The Chevelle SS brought presence and personality. With a wide stance, twin power bulges on the hood, and a clean, muscular profile that was like a perfect match for the personality of the generation's youth. The SS 396 was a driver's car through and through. On the inside, it was simple and comfortable, had a balance of raw power, elegant design, and that unmistakable Chevrolet swagger. 8. 1968 Dodge Charger RT. If there was ever a car that looked fast even when standing still, it was the 1968 Dodge Charger RT. The long hood, hidden headlights, and sharp curves showed that not only women could have Coke bottle figures. And if there ever was a car that deserved to be called she, it was also the '68 Dodge Charger. But make no mistake, even with all its elegance, this was a menacing muscle car. It wasn't just about styling. It came standard with a 440 Magnum 5.8, which had 375 horsepower of unfiltered fury. And for those brave enough, there was the legendary $600 426 Hemi option that turned the car into a quarter-mile monster. From NASCAR tracks to Hollywood streets, the Charger became an instant status symbol. 7. 1968 Plymouth Roadrunner. Hemi. If the Charger was muscle with class, the 1968 Plymouth Roadrunner was muscle stripped to the bone. Plymouth realized that many buyers of muscle cars prioritized speed over luxury, and thanks to that, speed got a new form, the Roadrunner. This was everything you dreamt of. It was cheap, loud, and devastatingly quick. For under $3,000, you got a 383 cubic inch V8, a 4-speed manual, and a horn that literally went beep beep. But the real prize was the optional 426 Hemi, the 425 horsepower engine that could tear the asphalt off the street. The Roadrunner sacrificed comfort for edge. Just pure, raw, unfiltered fun for those who live the rock and roll life. 6. 1965. Shelby GT350. Then along came Carroll Shelby, the man who was known for being able to make anything fast. Shelby took the youthful, stylish pony, the Ford Mustang, and turned it into a legitimate racer, the Shelby GT350. In 1965, Shelby stripped the car of excess weight, reworked the suspension, and dropped in a modified 289 cubic inch V8, producing 306 horsepower. The result was a car that could corner, stop, and sprint like a European sports car, but still roar pure Americana. Painted in Wimbledon white with twin blue stripes, the GT350 was instantly recognizable, transforming the Mustang from a fashion statement into a performance legend. 5. 1967 Ford Mustang Shelby GT500. But Shelby wasn't done. 2 years later, he raised the stakes with the GT500. This was a bigger, far more powerful car. It packed a 428 cubic inch Police Interceptor V8, giving you 355 horsepower. With dual air scoops, racing stripes, and enough torque to bend the pavement, this car had some serious attitude. It could sprint from 0 to 60 in just over 6 seconds. It screamed invincible. The GT500 was the rock star of muscle cars, part race car, part rebel. 4. 1967 Chevrolet Corvette L88 427. Now, some might argue the Corvette isn't a traditional muscle car. While they might be right, the 1967 L88 427 strongly argues against that theory. The L88 package came with a 427 cubic inch V8 rated at 430 horsepower, though in truth it produced closer to 560. It was an untamed race car in disguise. Chevrolet deliberately underrated it to discourage casual buyers. It came with no heater, no radio, and mandatory premium fuel. They made it purely for the track, and only 20 were built in 1967, making it one of the rarest and most coveted Corvettes ever. 3. 1970 Plymouth Hemi Superbird. Yes, we know the decade has turned. The 1970 Plymouth Hemi Superbird just had to be on the list. Born from NASCAR obsession, Plymouth engineers, desperate to beat Ford on the oval, turned the Roadrunner into a wind tunnel masterpiece. With its pointed nose cone and a 23-inch rear wing, it was a sculpture and one of the most aerodynamic cars of its time. But aerodynamics aside, it came with a 426 Hemi engine and rocked 425 horsepower. It was a little too wild for the public, and only about 1,900 were made. While back then many sat unsold, today the Superbird is a legend, a symbol of how far automakers would go to dominate the muscle car wars. It is greatly coveted by collectors today. 2. 1969 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. By 1969, every manufacturer was in the arms race, and Chevrolet's absolute weapon of a creation was the Camaro ZL1. Built primarily for racing, the ZL1 featured an all-aluminum 427 cubic inch V8. It was based on the Corvette's engine, but lighter and stronger. Officially rated at 430 horsepower, it could easily top 500 with the right setup. Only 69 of these insane monsters were produced, making it one of the rarest and most sought-after muscle cars ever built. 1. 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429. At the top of the list stands a car born out of competition, the 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429. In the heat of the muscle car race, Ford needed some serious power to compete in NASCAR. The result? A massive 429 cubic inch semi-Hemi V8. It was too much for the streets. In order to make it street legal, the engineers had to make some modifications to the original NASCAR prototypes. Even with the mods, Ford built just over 1,300 units, each hand-assembled by Carcraft in Michigan. The Boss 429 wasn't just a Mustang, it was a masterpiece of perfect balance and engineering. The hood scoop of the Boss 429 looked like it could swallow the horizon, while the engine bay could barely fit its massive heart. It was the Holy Grail. They rated it at 375 horsepower, but it was capable of far more than that. The Boss 429 redefined Ford performance. It was the final evolution of the 60s muscle car dream before the oil crisis, emissions laws, and insurance premiums brought the era to somewhat of an end. Which of these absolute icons is your dream car? Let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.